What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 8th day of June, and here we are with about 11 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it, okay? I want to talk about some prospects here, some potential outcomes with OnyxCoin as far as the price action goes, just so we know what to expect over the coming days and weeks ahead, okay? We're going to talk about the downside and the upside and just what might happen depending on what we see here, okay? Because right now we're at a kind of maybe a critical pivotal moment. The more critical moment was here above this low, but there's still a lot of fancy things that can happen from here, okay? Where we are right now, hit that like button, subscribe if I didn't say that already, I don't know. Where we are right now is we're at an area where we used to find resistance, where we have prior resistance here. We've had actually very significant resistance here. We're also at this point where we had a little bit of a knot in this overall very tenacious drop to the downside. We had a little bit of a staging area here, a little bit of a knot there for about a month or about 4 weeks. So a semi-significant, if not actually very significant area to find support. We look at the low here, this relative low here to this relative high of this 20x move that took place in like 2 weeks, this overall 40x move. We're in the golden ratio, the heart of the golden ratio there. So there's reason enough, there's enough causality to find support in this area, right? Okay? It doesn't mean we have to find support here. We can go lower. So let's talk about that first. Let's talk about what it'll look like if we go lower. We're also going to talk about what it looks like if we go higher, okay? Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. And the funny thing is the bad stuff's actually good, right? It's actually good stuff. The bad stuff is good. We want the price to go lower so we can buy at a cheaper valuation, so we can stake our coins. Every coin that you buy here, not financial advice, not financial advisor, could be worth over $1, even over worth $2 at some point in the future. Maybe in like 2028, 2029. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm holding out for. And that's what I'm staking on. If there's reason to believe that we're going to go lower, see new all-time lows, we'll get to that bridge whenever we cross it. But I certainly don't have that belief here, not at this area where we have very significant support. However, if we go lower, there's still other areas that we could find support. My expectation would be this, okay? That if we go lower, we need to cause mass capitulation, okay? Capitulation typically happens whenever you break psychological support, right? Whatever that might be. We break below this line here. If we got below 0025, or maybe if this happened in August, 0026, 0027, whatever the case may be, if we break below this line, I'd imagine that a lot of people are going to freak out. They're going to think that this is what means OnyxCoin is going to go to new all-time lows. They're going to ignore the fact that you've been in a downtrend for a very long time. They're going to ignore that fact. They're going to ignore the fact that things don't move down in straight lines, right? There's volatility. There's times whenever things break out. And they might make the bad decision and literally sell the lows. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but these diagonal lines are typically areas where it's actually a horrible time to sell if you break right below them. It's actually not a good idea, depending on what you do. Now, if you kind of crowd it like this, okay, maybe you do go lower. If we form some type of bear flag, if there's other reasons to believe we go lower, that's fine. We can expect to go lower, but we'll have time to determine that. All I'm trying to say by this is not what would come after this to the downside or the upside. I would assume that we go up. My assumption would be that if we move down from here, we would either find support directly off of this trend line, or, in my opinion, more likely, we'd go below it. And we might see something similar to what we saw back here, where you kind of bounce off it initially, and you kind of chill around it, and you go below it. That would be the area that I think we'd go and find support. And if we zoom out here, we look at the overall all-time low here to the high that we had at the last cycle. The golden ratio is actually right here in this range. So depending on when we do this, wouldn't it be perfect? Or actually, you found support right at that golden ratio there too, by the way. If we did this, we find support on this line in August or September, and we crash just below it, we could be finding support below this trend line, but in the golden ratio of the overall all-time low to relative high, and then from there move up. That'd actually be a really good area to find support. Prior resistance here on a closing basis, resistance there, resistance there. And if we go lower, there's other areas of prior support and resistance to find support as well. I don't expect that we go this low. My expectation is that we probably don't go too far below, if at all below, 0025. I personally don't believe we do that. Or 0026 even. If we do go below there, we close below there, we can talk about the price action at that point in time. What would be the next expectations? But that's not where my head's at, okay? My head would be that if we go down, this is the worst of it, okay? And from here, it's about another 33% drop to potentially something in the way of like a 30 to a 20% drop, something in that kind of area there. We look at this in the form of finding support, in the form of moving up. What we would need to see, imagine that we find support here and that we move up. It'd be kind of odd to see that because we've just broken out of this base that we've been forming since really December, November, since that November-December timeframe there. We've just broken out of this. But if we are to move up, there's a chance, because last week we've broken out of this. This is a brand new week. We have 6 days and 11 hours left in this week here. Okay, so there's a lot of time to reverse things. Bitcoin just moved down. The whole rest of the crypto market moved down. We're definitely in a moment where we could see a significant bounce. And if that significant bounce comes for OnyxCoin, we move up here, we get some volume to come in. It's completely possible that this is a fake out, finding support at prior resistance. Prior resistance here, finding support at the relative golden ratio from this low to that high up there. It's completely possible that this is a fake out and that we move up. But if we are to move up from here, we need to do it soon. It needs to happen soon. It doesn't necessarily need to happen this week, but the sooner the better. Probably sometime this month. I would think if we get to the end of the month, it's like the last week of the month or the last like 10 days of the month, and we haven't seen any kind of recovery at all to the upside, I would assume that that does kind of condemn us to lower prices. And we'll keep an eye on some of the other indicators and stuff like that. But looking at this here, we're definitely in a position where we've broken out and there's not significant volume at all backing this move up. We're in a position where we could see some type of fake out maneuver where we come back up rather immediately back above this 006 target. Now, the thing is, if we want to absolve ourselves of going back down and going lower, we then need to continue to hold this area as support, this area of about 00444. That should be easy to remember on a weekly closing basis. We can wick below it, we can close a day below it maybe, but let's close weeks above it. Let's hold that area as support if we get back above it, okay? Maybe we get a dramatic pump and then we sell off, as OnyxCoin likes to do. But as long as we're holding that as support, there's still a pretty solid chance that this was a fake out and that we are still in an accumulation phase and that there could be some bag of gold at the end of this rainbow if we prevail. If we do prevail, if we do move up higher, the expectation would be that we move up to about 1.8 to 2.8 cents, somewhere in this area where we found resistance before, something above these highs. It could happen. And at that point, we'd be breaking out of this overall downtrend, undoubtedly. So there's a lot of potential there. OnyxCoin has been in a bear market since January of 2025, longer than most cryptos. It's down more than most cryptos at this point in time, depending on how you look at it, right? I mean, from its bear market lows, it's actually down less than most cryptos. Most cryptos are not up 475% from their prior bear market lows. But also, most cryptos are not down from their bull market highs. They're not down 92%. So it is down more in that sense, but it's down less in this sense. Just depends if you're a short-term or a long-term holder. That really kind of determines your outlook. Wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at all if we saw some type of a movement like this or like this or like this come into play here. The surprise that would be nice to see is that it's different, that it behaves different and it continues upwards, that we don't sell off all the way. But again, even if we do get some kind of move like this, the things to look for to the bullish effect first would be that we see a higher high. That would be interesting. Okay, if we could see a higher high. None of these pumps, none of them have come in the form of higher highs. They've all been lower highs, okay? So if we could see a pump like this, one of those wicked pumps come in and it's a higher high, that would be exciting. The next exciting thing would be one of two things. Either, again, we kind of consolidate and we hold it and then we move up. That would be different than anything else we've seen, because we've seen slow bleeding off every other time. Or if we do bleed off, here's the the positive thing that can come from that is that we hold support at prior areas of support and resistance. If we can do that, then there's hope that we are in the midst of something different, right? We get the higher high, we're holding this area of support, there's a chance that we could be on a path higher and breaking out of this downtrend overall. So hopefully I gave you some things to think about. There's really not too much to talk about other than that. RSI, it's bearish overall, but it's kind of neutral at the same time. We've got neutral price action, so that makes sense. The stochastics have been oversold for quite some time. I would expect some recovery based on that, but that just because I think that doesn't mean that it has to happen. We could be oversold for the next year. Who says that we have to come out of it now? The MACD is decaying. It's waning on its bullish momentum, and you are actually looking like you want to cross red. It would be interesting if these points come to touch and then we bounce from there. I'd really like to see the MACD build bullish momentum. If we start to build bullish momentum, that would also be a sign on the weekly basis that we are looking for some type of recovery move here. And then just real quick, closing thought, high to low. Let's just get that out of the way. First, actually, let's do this. High to low here, golden ratio, high to low here, above the 382. Pretty common to get right above the 382. And then actually one more high to low. I want to take this high to low here. High to low here. You went actually right to your golden ratio there. So the golden ratios, the 382s, relatively speaking, are pretty significant. High to low overall. The 382 would be at 00971, so that is a possible target to get back above 1 cent, wick above the 382. It's pretty common to do. And the golden ratio area is right here at this prior resistance. I mean, this fib makes sense. But what's really exciting is the prospect that if we got above the 382, we would see a higher high. So that would be interesting. That is an acceptable target to have. 00661 would be the minimum target. That would be disappointing to move up there and find resistance there. Finding resistance at the 236 is typically not a good thing. It's typically, I mean, like if it's a short-term bit of resistance, okay, and then you move up. But if you see a rejection, that's typically not a good thing. That marks the mark's going lower. That's like bearish strength. And then, of course, we'd have a lower high with that. So looking for 0097 or anything above there, that would be exciting. And then last thing, relative high to relative low here. Getting above, at a minimum, a target of around 0061, 00656, that 0066 target where the 236 is. Yeah, all of that's on the table as well. So I got nothing else. I hope I gave you some stuff to think about. If I did and you liked it, hit the like button. If I did and you didn't like it, leave a scathing comment in the comment section and subscribe. I will see you guys on the next one. Okay, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.